Welcome to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank studio, this time from the Mississippi Delta, where I visit a lot this time of year, go up to my place in the Mississippi Delta in a little small town called Itabena, Mississippi, right outside of Greenwood. Of course, you hit 82, which is the main thoroughfare that we would go out and get on from the dirt roads that we're on. And you head to the west, you'll eventually get to Indianola, and then places that you can work your way toward Clarksdale or keep going and end up in Greenville. So you get a sense of where we are. We love it up here this time of year. I spend a lot of time up here visiting my friends, and a lot of my friends and family join me up here, and we just we take it all in. So we're coming. I call this the Delta Studio, and we're proud to be sponsored by Citizens Bank. Without any further ado, let's move over to my friend, the mayor of the city of Biloxi, Fofo Gillich, and we're going to just check in with him for a couple of segments. How you doing, Fofo?
I'm great, Ricky. Thank you all. I hope y'all made it through Thanksgiving. We're looking forward for the holidays coming up. So everything is cool.
It was. You know what? Hey, the way it works in my house is we do a full-scale cooking situation every other year. So on the off year, we'll go out to eat somewhere. Yeah. And then the kids, Tori and her family and Jordan and his family, they go spend it with their in-laws. Eventually we see them, right. But I spend Thanksgiving this year. This was the off year. So we actually went to the Beau Rivage and ate there with Miss Annette and Peter and Alan and Lisa and Jen and their family. And it was really good. We had a terrific meal there. It's probably the best meal I've ever had eating out for Thanksgiving. That's not, it felt like home cooking, but we had a really good time. And of course, what I was doing, and Jordan was waiting, I was just waiting for Ann to give me the nod that it was okay to leave. So, because we got the car, he had to straight up to the Mississippi Delta, but yeah, it was special for us. This time of year is special. This is the time to bring family together. And how about you guys? You have a good Thanksgiving?
Yeah, we did. We went over with my son and my two youngest grandchildren. So we kind of kicked around, watched a little football, watched a little of everything. So we were good.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I have a show coming up next Monday with Laurie Jackson. She's a missionary from Ukraine that is on my show probably every 3 or 4 months, and we've become really good friends. And
I remember you said a while back we talked.
Yeah, they have a volunteer effort they put in place, and listen, it reminds me of the kind of volunteer effort that happened after Hurricane Katrina. They just come together and they're helping families whose sons or husbands are fighting. In too many cases, unfortunately, friends of hers been killed by this senseless war. But we look forward to visiting. But if you look back on this year, there's been speaking of Ukraine, a lot of Ukrainian families went to Croatia, and to have the Croatian president in Biloxi looking back, that's got to be a highlight for you this year.
No, it really was. It was significant. I still kind of pinch myself on how we were able to pull that off. And let me tell you, he was very impressed, and I was impressed that he was impressed. And I think the governor and the Senator Wicker and everybody just came together. The Speaker of the House. It was just a terrific, just a great visit. I guess in a few words, it was terrific to have him here. I think it's the first time we've had any kind of dignitary of that level visit Biloxi. So I was pleased and proud.
Well, as you and I have talked about in prior conversations, the history of the Croatian community and that beautiful town, which you and I both have had beautiful country that you and I both have had the opportunity to visit. He has to be blown away because the connection that Biloxi keeps with Croatia, this constant flow of people back and forth. We love that country, and to be able to talk to the president of Croatia while he is in Biloxi about your love for Croatia and the heritage that is part of this town, it had to have created a lasting impression for him.
Oh, to me, I could talk for hours on this subject, but this, when you look at him and his wife, a beautiful first lady, and she's actually a professor of epidemiology. So these two. And she was the whole group. And he had like 4 or 5 of his top ministers that came also, as well as the ambassadors and general counsel. But we got to talking, and just about, and you could tell. I don't know if you know Dr. Mitchell Gruich, but he looks like a twin brother.
Yes.
I'm telling you, if you take two pictures, and Mitchell, I actually had a chance to meet and talk with him a little bit, but it was so you just feel that DNA, that connectivity to years and thousands of years, not just hundreds of years. So
if you look back on this year, certainly that was a high point. But the fact that one of the interesting things, I had Michael Sunderman on recently, and I've had ongoing conversations with leaders at each of the casinos, and it's truly amazing actually that this market has held its own. When you think about COVID getting behind us, all that relief money that was out there that certainly was kind of spurring things along. But even now that all that sort of waned, the market has really held its own, hasn't it?
Well, it's better than held its own. This is the third year in a row that gross gaming revenue. This is our 8 casinos. I call my 8 families here that kicked a new record. So in 21, in 22, and 23, that's $1 billion plus gross gaming revenue. Again, for everybody that's listening, that everybody thinks that Biloxi is the winner, but the state of Mississippi is the winner. To get the details, numbers are my friend, so to speak. But that $1 billion turns into $120 million of revenue. That's what the casinos, and this is number 5th in the country. These eight casinos together. Of that $120 million that's taxed over, again, in the worst of times, 21, 22, 23, better than before. So the closest we came to $1 billion in gross gaming revenue was in 2004, with 903 GGR. But of that $120 million cuts, the first $80 million goes directly to the state of Mississippi. And then the other, components of public safety and education, these numbers are significant numbers. If you had to do this through tax or through some other way, it's a real big deal. But it's amazing. It's more than Thrive. It's a record year after year after year. So I'm thankful. Talking about Thanksgiving, I'm thankful for that. We budgeted it again, for our 24th year, and we're watching it. We were very aggressive last year and said, man, we can't do this 3 years in a row. Now we can't do this 4 years in a row. Well, we're hopeful to, but we're rolling the dice, and I guess the tourism, the visitation, and everything is kind of together, compounded together. It resulted in the business we've been able to enjoy.
Fofo, one of the things that Michael Sunderman and I talked about, and incidentally, Michael Sunderman is the president and publisher of M2 Media, and they have gaming publications, South Mississippi Living Magazine. But we reflected a little bit about how when casinos started opening here in coastal Mississippi many years ago, we did not have a tremendous competition from other gaming jurisdictions. And then Michael reflected on where we are today in terms of the number of jurisdictions across America that have gaming now. A lot of folks felt we would not hold our own as competition ramped up, but we continue to hold our own. I think part of the reason for that is we're a coastal community. People love this community. The people here are amazing, all those things that we know about. The other is that Mississippi did a great job when it said, look, we're not going to limit the number of players. We're going to let free enterprise sort of make it happen. We're not going to overtax them, and we're not going to overregulate them. We're going to put necessary regulations in place, and we're going to put the kind of taxes in place that make sense. And then we're not going to keep dipping back to that. That is a great story. And what comes from that? Yeah, go ahead.
It's the American way right there. You get to a level and stay with it. And I think that's the success. Success breeds success. And so what we're trying to do is keep successful, participants in this industry, and everything else will go along with it. But I think there's about 38 jurisdictions right now when there used to be 4.
Yeah, and that's something. As Mike said, it's approaching 40 now. It's a big number. But you know what it means is that when these major companies like MGM and Harrah's and others are trying to make a decision about whether they're going to make more investments in their casinos, they look at the regulatory environment. They look at how the market is performing. They look at the tax structure. And they say, you know what, this is a safe investment for us to make.
The stability of it.
When I talk with Jonathan over at Harrah's, the investments that they're making in that casino, and you see the Beau Rivage continues to upgrade in so many different ways. It's awesome to see it. And, again, we're not just holding our own, as you pointed out, we're making records.
That's it. Yeah, no, it's amazing. It really is amazing when you look at, everything in this world that's happening. I did do just some things exciting last week with my son and my son-in-law and my brother-in-law and my grandson. We went to the Formula One race in Las Vegas.
Wow.
And that was interesting. It's 200 miles an hour, and you can only see about 100 yards of it, but 220 miles an hour. That was an event, and it was interesting that some of the ways that you got this special event going. I think they charged $15 for every cab ride that you took. So that's how of course, of a $2 or $3 billion impact to Las Vegas for that race. But it was something to see. So it was exciting.
What's happened is and we're coming to the end of the segment with Formula One having the Netflix special, the average person now is much more in tune with what that's all about, and the teams and the drivers and the pomp and circumstance surrounding it, the money. Lord have mercy, the money is unbelievable. Anyway, we'll come back with Fofo, Gillich, and Mayor in Biloxi. We'll continue our conversation. We'll see you after this break. From the Citizens Bank studio from right here in the Mississippi Delta today, I have my friend, the mayor of the city of Biloxi, Fofo Gillich, and I always enjoy checking in with him. But when we went to break, we were talking about he just got back from Las Vegas, where members of his family went over there to check out the Formula One race. But I think Formula One's taken America by storm. You were mentioning during the break that the thing that fascinated you the most is how big those cars are.
Right. It was, you think of IndyCar and they, maybe 60% of the size, but the technology, which, every kind of DRS, every kind of downforce system and the technology, it was not like a race I'd ever been to. I've been to some closed, NASCAR kind of races, but drag races. But I'm telling you, see 220 miles an hour when you're 10 feet away from it, and then zoom, 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 zoom. You can't hardly move your head fast enough.
Yeah, the way they lay out those tracks is fascinating, and those drivers.
3.8 miles and 16 turns, and of course, some of those turns are right there by the sphere, that big alien-looking thing. But it was all very cool, and did a lot of walking and did a lot of just gee whizzing. So we had a great time.
We'll have a Formula One race in Biloxi someday.
Yeah, right. Well, it was interesting. I didn't mean to take up the whole segment with Formula One, but there was like a 6-inch manhole. It's actually a water valve cover, not very big at all. They spot welded the metal plate to the collar, and the downforce or the force is this, it's 1 inch off the ground, and you got 200 something miles an hour. It pulled the whole collar off and damaged the bottom of one. $1 million worth of damage. Yeah,
they actually canceled the race that day.
Well, they actually canceled it. It was time trial day, and yeah. So anyway, it was something.
Yeah, it gives you a sense of what they have to do to adjust to accommodate those cars. You look back on this year, so much activity, as we discussed in the past, virtually no commercial real estate available in downtown Biloxi. You got investors of all stripes in there making huge investments in the city. It's an exciting time in Biloxi, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It is. And, every day, as a matter of fact, while we were out there, we visited with Harry Mahoney, who's the one that just purchased, the Fifth Street Margaritaville, and some of his thoughts with restaurants and bars. And then, he's actually purchased the yacht club, I think. So he's got some interesting entertainment kinds of approach, not a casino, but, part of the entertainment scene. In Las Vegas now, I think it's like 60-40. Gaming 40%, non-gaming 60%, and I think that's a move that we need to pay attention to, the entertainment component, the shopping component, and just the relaxation component. So I've learned some things while we're out there. So.
Well, listen, after Hurricane Katrina, I had the honor of leading the planning effort tourism for the Governor's Commission, and we said we got to have a good Coliseum, we have to have hotel rooms, we have to have a great airport, and we have to have attractions. And the focus on attractions was not just gaming, but non-gaming and family. And you're beginning to see a lot of investment in the non-gaming arena, and that's actually going to help take our market to the next level, isn't it?
It is. When you talk about connectivity. I think Clay just talked a little bit about Breeze airline coming, direct to Las Vegas. People will be coming from Las Vegas to here as well as other way around, and then to Tampa. Breeze, I think, is one of the fastest growing airlines around. And so they've got a great future. And I think down the road, we've got direct flights to D.C., on the radar. And I don't think you can't jump on a plane.
What's interesting about Breeze, and Clay was on the show with me. If you missed that show, you can go do a search for Ricky Matthews' show, Clay Williams, and watch a detailed discussion about Breeze. But one of the things about Breeze is unique is that they started their airline with new equipment. So they've got really amazing equipment that's the perfect size. It's not too big. It's not too small for a market like the Gulfport Biloxi International Airport. And they're serving markets like ours with direct flights. And they got a great future. Did you have the opportunity to fly with Breeze?
No, I didn't. We actually flew, Delta, Southwest, I think. But anyway, it was interesting. And, I'm really excited about that and the components of BA. And you look at, just the whole, if we got to go do business, we can do business in a lot of ways right out of our backyard, which is exciting for us.
So look, tonight is a special night in the city of Biloxi. You've got the Christmas with the lighting of Town Green. Town Green's become such a cool part of the holidays, hasn't it?
Yeah, it is. We're looking forward to the kids and everybody enjoying the flash and the excitement of the holidays coming up. We're almost through it right now. You're clicking off the number of days, which is not many, under 30.
Where did this year go?
You got me. I know it's been busy day by day, so it makes it go by fast. I mean, we haven't rested anyway. We've been trying to get a lot of good projects out of the approval mode into the actually, let's get rolling. The number one, I think, is up at MDOT right now. The plans for the Broadwater, for the Pops Ferry extension across Pass Road, across railroad tracks to Highway 90. So that's, going out to the World Wide Web, so to speak, so people can bid on this, and we will be putting that into place probably in a year. We'll be driving on. I know that's. And
as you have discussed on previous shows, you have really taken a leadership role in there to say we're not going to take a long time to get this done. We're going to get this built and get it behind us.
Time is money, and MDOT, we work very well with it. They call it A+B bidding, where time is money. So even though something might be a couple of $300,000 more, but the length of time is translates into real dollars. So the opportunity, we talk about Rouss will be in place, in 6 or 7 months, and that's all. All that decision was. The investment decisions were made on how we're going to make that intersection more useful and more attractive. So that was my number one commitment this year, is to get that thing on the streets, ready to bid, ready to go.
Well, listen, as it relates to Rouss specifically, I don't know if you remember, but I gave you some contact information to Donnie Rouss early in the process. But I got to know Donnie Rouss when I was over there in the Rouss family and over in Louisiana. And man, they have figured out their niche. They have figured out how to compete in a market where neighborhood Walmarts are proliferating. You got the super Walmart stores. They bring something different to the table. And buddy, they invest heavily. They went into that old Winn-Dixie location and completely gutted it. And they have their vision of how this ought to be, and they don't spare any expense, do they?
No, I think they're about $7 or $8 million into that store. 60,000 square feet. It's the biggest one, and I'm sure it's going to be a fabulous way. You might be able to spend Thanksgiving there too. So really, there's some exciting plans for that store, and then it'll around it too.
All these unique relationships they have with their vendors, and so like they want the seafood to be locally sourced, for example, and the list goes on and on. All these brands that you would not otherwise get anywhere else, but they've really figured it out, and I'm thrilled to have. In fact, Donnie's been on my show before, and we'll have him back on around the opening of this store. But they're excited about being here, and I would expect them to continue to invest in coastal Mississippi.
I think. The folks are coming this way. And if it's, if it makes business, that's the main thing. If it makes business sense, then, there's nothing to throw you off track. That's one thing. You talk about gaming and talk about other things. If it doesn't make business sense, you're not going to have any opportunity. So you got to get that environment, get that fertile, situation where people know, if I do this, then I'll get that. And that's what the whole deal. That's what our economy is based on. Supply, demand, and return on that investment. You can't fool around with that.
So during the holidays, you get to maybe take a little bit of a deep breath, spend time with family. Thank God for a good year, and then you look forward to 2024. Amazing that I'm actually even saying that. Boy, there's a lot of to-do items that transfer into the new year, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. I'm just going over my capital projects around, about 50 of them that, in doing what you needed to do what you react to, and then some of the things that you need to do in order to position yourself. It's a 5-year plan. It's a 6-year plan. And it's all part of the things you got to do in any kind of business. I mean, you just can't do year after year and depend on, well, I did good last year, so I'm going to do this. No, you got to plan, plan that growth, give you your curve that you adjust it. You got to adjust everything. Nobody knows what will happen tomorrow.
Fofo, are you gonna stay working to be the mayor of Biloxi well into your 90s? Is that your plan?
Well, let me tell you, I'm having a great time. This is not, a challenge. You know me, my mind needs to think all the time, and it does all the time. And God willing, my foot is not coming off that gas. I can tell you that. Like the Formula One race, we're going to be.
Hey, I'll make it. You stay mayor. I'll keep doing this show, and in 10 or 15 years, we'll circle back and have a wonderful conversation. Me still doing the show, and you still being
there. That's the deal. We're right here on, we're guarding everybody. We're good.
We're all in. We're all in. Listen, it's been a pleasure, my friend. Thanks for being such a good friend and for joining us.
Everybody, including your mother-in-law too. I just tell them we love her to death. Okay. Thank you very much, Kyle. Thank you, everybody. Y'all have a good day, good week, good season too.
You bet. Hey, when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with the Ocean Springs Chamber. We'll see you after this.